September 9, 1971. Inmates seize control of the Attica Correctional Facility in upstate New York. After a 4-day siege, police and guards storm the maximum security prison near Buffalo. The ordeal leaves 32 inmates and 11 prison employees dead, with hundreds more wounded.
Inmates seize control of the Attica Correctional Facility in upstate New York. After a 4-day siege, police and guards storm the maximum security prison near Buffalo. The ordeal leaves 32 inmates and 11 prison employees dead, with hundreds more wounded. All right. Vocabulary: inmates, seize, ordeal, wounded. Yeah, these are tough words, new words for many of you. Attica, upstate New York, Buffalo. These are proper nouns, okay? You've probably never heard of Attica. Maybe you've heard of Buffalo. And upstate New York, we actually use a capital U. Most of you wrote a small u, and that's not wrong, but we do use a capital U almost always. So therefore, and siege. This is a tough word. So what are the problems? In my opinion, right here, just the green, those two green and these, yeah, those you should hear. Everything else, if you didn't get it, that's okay. A lot of you wrote, instead of seize, you wrote seized, or you wrote siege. Yeah, so these pronunciations are similar. I'll talk about that. Many of you wrote 4 days, siege. No, this is an adjective, so it's just 4-day, siege. And guards. And a lot of you wrote stormed, but no, it was simply storm. And I want you guys to look this up. Oh, by the way, I told you in the letter to use Google or Wikipedia to help you with these stories. That's not cheating. That's no problem. Use Wikipedia and try and find out more information. But I want you guys to look up this. Historical present. Okay, I want you guys to look up historical present and make sure you understand this term. Okay, just look it up, because this is important. I'll talk about that tomorrow. So, inmates. Now, this story is important because in Seinfeld, George was talking about watching a prison fight, okay? And that's exactly what this story is. It is a prison fight. It's a men's prison. And in the story in Seinfeld, it was a minimum security prison. Well, this is a maximum security prison, okay? So this is a serious situation. Inmates seize control of the Attica Correctional Facility. That's the name of the jail. Of the Attica Correctional Facility, prison. In where? Upstate New York. And I'll talk about that tomorrow. After a 4-day, this is an adjective, so no S. After a siege, a 4-day siege. So here we got seize. That's a verb with a Z sound. This is siege. That's a G. That's a noun. After a siege. After a 4-day siege. Police and guards. So police are outside the prison. Guards are in the prison. But they came together. Police and guards storm the maximum security prison near Buffalo. So it's near Buffalo in upstate New York. And it's called the Attica Correctional Facility. The ordeal. This is a very good expression. The ordeal leaves something wounded. That's our leaves past participle. Leaves 32 inmates and 11 prison employees dead. Dead. Leaves dead. Adjective. With hundreds more wounded. Past participle. Okay? So, yeah. That's the story. Okay? Once again, lots of new words. Lots of proper nouns. Don't worry. I will explain tomorrow. Then check your 80%. Let's go ahead and say it. Repeat after me the first time, and the second time I'll say it faster. September 9th, 1971. Inmates, these are prisoners, seize control of the Attica Correctional Facility in upstate New York. So here is the state of New York. You can see it here. Here's New York City down here, and it goes all the way up just like this. This is New York, okay? Now, this is New York City. This is Manhattan Island. This is where, when we say Long Island, rather, when we say New York, everybody thinks here. But outside, basically outside this area, maybe outside this area, the rest of New York is called upstate New York. And typically when we say upstate New York, we think of the country area. Lots of country, lots of mountains. Very beautiful area up here. Very nice. And here's Buffalo, big city. Niagara Falls, Toronto, right? Rochester, Syracuse. These are all pretty famous New York cities. Cleveland, Ohio. So anyway, we're right here. Remember they said Buffalo. So this is Buffalo. And here we go. This is the Attica Correctional Facility. We zoom in here. There's a town of Attica. Yeah, right here. There's a town of Attica. It's really tiny. Okay, we'll go to this view. You can see it's pretty much a farming community. It's not much happening. But right here, this is the prison. And they have the Wyoming Correctional Facility too. But Attica Correctional Facility, when we say that, this is bad guys. Lots of bad guys at this prison. And this is the yard. You can see the yard. They actually have baseball fields, so that's pretty cool. It looks pretty nice for a prison. Okay, so here, this is where they had riots, where the prisoners got really upset and they took control. Now, the reason the prisoners were upset was because the food conditions were bad. There weren't enough showers. There wasn't enough soap. Yeah, these are pretty basic things. The prison guards were not only not nice, they were actually very mean to prisoners. The prison guards were like gods, and the prisoners were like dogs. I mean, even worse than that. They could do anything they wanted. So they felt it was unfair. Yes, it's prison. Of course, it's prison, but it was too much. They were not treated humanely like humans. Yes, they're bad guys, but they still wanted to be treated like humans. Religious freedom, I guess, was an issue too. So they had enough, and they took over. They took over the prison. And this lasted for 4 days. And the prisoners were trying to negotiate. Hey, just make the prison system better. You know, give us access to more lawyers. Give us access to education. Give us more soap in the showers. Give us proper food, cooked food. These were their demands. But of course, it kind of worked. Okay. In the end, the New York prison system did make things better for prisoners. And the big reason was they didn't want other prisons to imitate what happened in Attica. So it worked, but it was expensive. It was expensive in life. After a 4-day siege, so the prisoners took control over the prison. They had complete control over the prison, okay? Outside were the police and everybody else. And after a couple days, after 4 days, there's basically no food in there. They probably shut the water off. They probably shut the electricity off. So there's no food, no electricity, no water. Conditions are really bad. And they do this. They had a siege. They did this in order for the prisoners to give up, surrender. But they didn't. They didn't surrender. So after a 4-day siege, police and guards stormed. They attacked the maximum security prison near Buffalo. We saw that. And the ordeal, this terrible, long, horrible situation, in the end leaves 32 inmates, prisoners, and 11 prison employees dead, with hundreds more wounded. It was a serious situation. That was back in 1971. It was the United States' biggest prison riot. And as far as I know, nothing anywhere close since then. So, yeah, it was very expensive. I mean, over 40 people died, but the prison systems have upgraded and are at least treating the prisoners with human dignity. And once again, this is a controversial subject because, you know, some of these prisoners are really bad, horrible people. They don't need dignity, if you ask me. But then again, they're humans. Tough stuff. Don't go to prison. Don't do bad things, and you don't have to worry, right? Is it that easy? Circumstances, right?
September 9, 1971. Inmates seize control of the Attica Correctional Facility in upstate New York. After a 4-day siege, police and guards storm the maximum security prison near Buffalo. The ordeal leaves 32 inmates and 11 prison employees dead, with hundreds more wounded. September 9, 1971. Inmates seize control of the Attica Correctional Facility in upstate New York. After a 4-day siege, police and guards storm the maximum security prison near Buffalo. The ordeal leaves 32 inmates and 11 prison employees dead, with hundreds more wounded.